Welcome to the Gaudium et Spes podcast, where every other week we bring you Catholic teachings and stories of faith from people throughout the Diocese of Pensacola-Tallahassee. Now, here are your hosts, Susanne McNinch and Chez Filippini.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Gaudium et Spes podcast. Chez and I are back in the studio today, and we've got two incredible guests here with us. But just as a reminder, if you haven't already, please check out our last episode where Bishop Walk kicked off our Lenten season, talking about Lent and the 40 days. It was a really amazing episode. So if you haven't listened to it already, please go ahead and turn in. But now let's focus on the guests that we have here in the studio with us today. So we have the privilege of having Louis Glass, who is the Grand Knight from the Knights of Peter Claver. And we also have Mary Holley, who is the Grand Lady from the Knights of Peter Claver Ladies Auxiliary Unit. Mary and Louis, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so great to have you here.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
It's great to be here.
Good.
Yeah. Mary, there's a last name we recognize around here. Holley. Where have we heard that one before?
Probably Bishop Holley.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Of course, now mine is Holley Lewis.
Okay.
But,
Gotcha.
But it's still Holley first.
Okay.
Very cool.
Very good.
Well, guys, on this podcast, we always start with the first line from the document that we're named after, Gaudium et Spes, which goes, "The joys and the hopes, the griefs and anxieties of the men of this age, especially those who are poor or in any way afflicted. These are the joys and the hopes, the griefs and anxieties of the followers of Christ." So, y'all, what's going on? Joys, hopes, griefs, anxieties, 1, 2, 4, all of them. What do you got?
Okay, I guess I'll kick this off.
Yeah.
Well, I'm experiencing happiness in this time of the year. It's like when spring is just getting ready to, the spring, and we're going to be able to get outside more because, truthfully, that's why I'm here. I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky, so I love the climate down here. I'm a terrible golf player, but I love being out there. So this season, it brings me a lot of joy in that respect because I know I'm going to be able to get on the course a lot more. But then also, specifically, we have some renovations going on in our church, and I'm really excited about those coming up. We're looking forward to a Lenten Fish Fry that we have every Friday during Lent. So that's got me stoked because we are actually, as KPC, in charge of it this year for the first time. So we're going to see how that goes. But beyond that, it's a good time of the year. Like I say, getting out more, spending more time in the area where I want to be. And like I say, those are the reasons why I'm experiencing a lot of joy.
So
right now.
not to shamelessly plug you at all, but the fish fries on Fridays, what time and where can people go and pick up their fish from?
Well, we can order. Just put that out, number one. But Our fish fries are every Friday during Lent from 10 to 2 at St. Joseph's Catholic Church, right there in Spring and Government Street. As I said, you can call in orders and come pick them up, or if we have 5 or more orders, we will deliver for you.
Oh, terrific.
Whoa,
yeah. Specifically, the dinners are $12 a piece, and that's going to include fish to either be a choice of basa or mullet, and that is boneless mullet. So then it's going to be baked beans and potato salad. We will have a dessert, and like I say, you can even get drinks along with that.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's up in the game on fish fries.
I think so, too.
Oh, my God.
Thank you for allowing us to say that.
Mary, what's up with you?
Well, I'm coming off of a high. We had the Teacher of the Year banquet last week, and so I represented Jim Allen Elementary, my school. So that was a fun time for me. So.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. I don't really have any lows. Everything's been going pretty decent right now.
All right. Great to hear.
Suzanne?
Yeah, we had a great pastoral center offsite last week, so it was really nice to be able to get together and do some reflection and penance, and I just love, spending time with my coworkers, so it was really good.
Well,
how about you?
All of the coworkers?
Yes, all of them. Absolutely.
That's right. No, it was great having Bishop doing our retreat for us. Had Mass with him and heard his talks. It was really special. Things are going well for the most. I had a moment of parenting sadness recently. It was interesting. And John Paul, out of nowhere, my 8-year-old was just. He was like, "Daddy, are there any wars going on in the world right now?" And I was like, "That's a random question." So we basically, for like a half hour, updated him on international politics in an age-appropriate way and stuff. And so it was good conversation. And he's the kid in our family that always he hits the pillow and he's out. Like 8:05, he's out. And he popped in our room at like 9:30. He's like, I can't sleep. And we're like, what's going on? And he basically admitted he's like, just finding out about the reality of the wider world, like gave him just enough anxiety that he couldn't fall asleep. And it was just that first moment I was like, oh, I remember when you, like, you're a kid and become kind of cognizant of bigger, sadder things. We don't watch the news very often in my house, but it just kind of, it hits hard. And so it was just, I know usually I'm the one who's talking about, like, we had like a fun soccer game or something like that, but it was definitely memorable in my parenting journey of like the wider world coming into my child's life and hitting the heart. So a little bit of a sadness, but nothing that can't be given to the Lord and prayed over and talked through, and it was great in the end. So, that's what's going on.
Okay, good deal.
Right.
Well, we've got Lewis and Mary here, and I think we should get to know them
Let's
a little
do
bit
that.
better. So, both of you, if you could just kind of tell us where you grew up, your faith, and what brought you to Pensacola.
Okay, I'll kick that off. I was born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky. That is where the majority of my family still lives to this day. Military brought me into the Pensacola area. I did my last tour on base as an air traffic controller instructor at the NAT Center, and then retired and stayed here. Kids were well adjusted. They were in elementary school and middle school at the time. They were well adjusted, and I wanted to get back to Florida because I spent my first 2 years of college in Bradenton, Florida. So I wanted to get back to Florida.
Okay.
So that's what brought me here. And then when I found St. Joseph's Catholic Church, really that became our spiritual home once we got
wow.
here. Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah. Married, how many children do you have? Want to talk about your family a little bit?
Okay, yes. I am married. We will be celebrating our 40th anniversary on October 1st. We have 2 grown children. Our oldest daughter is 35, and we have our youngest is 31, Ashley and Adrian, and we have a 15-year-old grandson, Ashton, who is a sophomore at West Florida High School.
Oh, very nice. So, what a beautiful family.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thank you.
You raised in the faith mostly?
Yes, everyone is born and raised Catholic. Both of my parents were Catholic, so I have not known any other faith. And actually, a funny story, when I was in college, it's probably the first time I attended a church other than a Catholic church. And I didn't know the appropriate term, but they called them holy rollers. So I went in there, and oh my, people were bouncing and hopping, and I was just kind of like went in my shell. I wasn't, but all faith they demonstrate, and like say, observe different things. But it was just something to see. But yeah, I've been Catholic my entire life. So.
Wow.
Very cool.
Very good.
Mary, what about you?
I was born here in Pensacola, but raised in Cantonment. Number 11 of 14. My mom and dad, they grew up Baptist, but they converted really when my brother Bishop Holley was in the womb. And I was a cradle Catholic and attended St. Jude in Cantonment. And prior to that, my older brothers and sisters attended Our Lady of Fatima, which was really across the street from the house. So we had a very, very strong presence, Catholic presence in our lives. We attended St. Joseph. My older brothers and sisters were at Our Lady of Fatima, and then they went to St. Joseph as well. And so we would spend I can remember my early years of school being on a bus at dark and getting back home at dark, because that one bus that we rode, it went to about 4 other, maybe 5 other Catholic schools. So all of us rode the same bus, and some got off at St. Thomas More, St. John, St. Michael. Let's see, I'm thinking Sacred Heart, but I'm not sure. I can't quite remember. But there were a lot of places that the bus stopped, and we were always the last one on and the last one to get back on in the evening. So we were dark to dark school.
Wow.
But it was an experience, and going to St. Joseph's was really we enjoyed it. We always came in through the side door because that's where the bus would let us off, and Mass would already be started. But, every morning we were there, front and center, and then, of course, we went to school. So I have lifelong friends who are from St. Joseph, even though I was out in Cantonment, and I had older brothers and sisters who graduated from St. Joseph, and then some who did get to Catholic High. But then after, I'll say, the bus stopped running, then there was really no way to get to St. Joseph. So that's when we started going to public school. So.
Okay. Wow.
The faith, obviously, Bishop Holley, for those who are listening and maybe don't know him, a priest ordained for our diocese in the late 80s, now a bishop. He was the auxiliary bishop of Washington, D.C., and then the bishop of Memphis. To get a bishop out of the... It's an unusual thing, so I'm assuming that the faith was pretty deeply implanted.
Oh, yes.
In the
my parents, my dad in particular, was always at the church. And he would go and they would clean up and do all the different little things around church that needed to be done, taking care of the needs of like the yard or whatever needed to be done. And when we were going to, back then it was just Sunday school, or religious ed, we had to walk over early. We had one car. And so that meant that religious ed started early. And then Mass was after that. So it was probably about 8 to 10 of us walking over at a time. But I distinctly remember one of my cousins saying that not only were we going to religious ed early, but my dad would go around to my Aunt Ruby, his sister's house, and they would be up getting ready, heading to Mass too, and heading to religious ed like we were. So it was just embedded in us, forget you didn't have a car because it wasn't right across the street then. It was over at St. Jude. And so it was a nice little walk there, more than 5 or 6 blocks. So it was across Muskogee Road and then on a little bit further, of course, on Rocky Avenue. But we were there every Sunday morning, every Sunday morning.
Wow. Well, Louis, when did you first get involved with the Knights of Peter Claver? And let's just take a step back because maybe some of our listeners out here do not know what is the Knights of Peter Claver and what is its mission?
Okay, well, I have a standard answer for that.
Okay.
I did pull it off because I didn't want to misstate anything. All right. The Knights of Peter Claver and Ladies Auxiliary is an international Catholic fraternal service order. It was founded in 1909, and it is the largest and oldest Black Catholic lay-led organization still in existence. Okay. The organization's model was based on other Catholic fraternal orders, such as the Knights of Columbus, who at that time did not allow Black members in all of their councils. So this reality illustrated the need for a Black Catholic fraternal order. And so from those beginnings, it is where we are now. Knights of Peter Claver, national organization. It is our national headquarters is in New Orleans.
Okay.
But primarily, I'll just bring it down to our local basis, get into my attraction to the organization was I was introduced when I got here in Pensacola, and we joined St. Joseph's in 2001. And they would have different turnouts and different events where the Knights would be dressed out in the regalia. And I did not know at all who they were, and I had no background because we didn't have a chapter in the churches I came up in Kentucky. So asking questions and everything, and then talking to different members. That talking became recruitment. And so they were like, well, come on in and give it a try. It was kind of like, they didn't really state specific goals of what we were trying to accomplish, but just come on in. It's kind of like a fraternal organization as one of the orders you would see in college, and we get together, fellowship and friendship. But then once I got in, I discovered, the mission of the Knights of Peter Claver and everything they were trying to do. And so definitely something is totally about service to the church. And we try to take up causes that will benefit people who are our, more on the impoverished side, less benefits. And so we try to help where we can. And I can't say of any one specific thing here locally, but we help a lot of the parishioners who might be having issues. We definitely have a lot of service to the church, and we step in with anything we need around St. Joseph.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Y'all are named after Peter Claver, and I don't expect y'all to memorize every aspect of his biography, but definitely a significant figure in his work with the African community, I think in South America, right? The slave population.
Yeah.
How does his charism kind of inspire the organization, or what's his role to play there as far as why he's the guy?
Well, based on his background, Father Peter Claver, he was a 17th century Spanish Jesuit priest who was later named a saint, and he ministered to slaves in Colombia and pushed for the abolition of slavery. So it would only be understanding that, easy to understand why that is our patron saint. And we try to follow on those traditions and things he was doing way back in the 17th century. We still fight for social justice and like as I said, for the impoverished and people who don't have opportunities that everyone would experience.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So do you know how long the Knights have been in the Pensacola area?
Well, it was actually way back in 1980. I don't know if most people know Deacon Seabrook, Bradley Seabrook. He is one of the retired deacons out of St. Jude. But a group of Catholic men and women from Mobile came over to talk with Deacon and Mrs. Minnie Seabrook about starting council in court in Pensacola. And that was around 1980. And in January of 1981, we had 18 ladies who became charter members. And I'm thinking it was at least, I remember a picture seeing it because Bishop was one of them. There were roughly about 12 men who became knights. And that was January 18, 1981. Wow. So we've been around that long. And throughout that process, I came in 1987 as like an obligated member. And the reason I came in because I actually watched the ladies. It was when Bishop, at the time, he was becoming a priest. And they were doing a presentation, and they presented my mother with flowers and things. And they just had like a reception before he became a priest for him. And so that was my wow, these ladies are really nice and they're doing a lot. And so as I inquired about what they were doing, I realized that's something I want to be a part of. And so it was a very nice springy day in April of the following year. Is when I actually was initiated in Chestang, Alabama. And we are part of a larger organization. We're part of the Gulf Coast District, which really includes Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina. And so we're called the Gulf Coast District. And so we just do a lot of charitable works. We work with the homeless, providing things for them, food insecurities, wherever we can help in that sense. And, of course, we support the priest and bishop at every turn. And we do a lot of joint things with the Knights. We have probably at least given out over probably $15,000 in scholarship money for colleges, for college-age students who, are in high school. And just a lot of service things. But we also have fun, too. We have the Halloween scholarship dance where we get to dress up and carry on, but all of it's for a good cause, and so it's for the scholarships for kids. But nationally, the Peter Claver's imprint is just so strong, not just throughout the United States, but we also have San Andreas Island, that's national, and then we had representation with the Pope last year. And so we actually are now sort of worldwide, and it's been awesome to be a part of the organization. It's covering the sanctity of life. It's covering social justice, as Brother Glass said, but also education, being a part of an organization that's wholly and truly Catholic. And it's just one of those things where you see all these different organizations and fraternal organizations, but ours is so much tied to the Eucharist, and you just don't see that everywhere else. You might have the Shriners, you might have all these other ones, but it's wholly Catholic. So, and we are very privileged to have had one of our Supreme Knights, was it
16th Supreme Knight, yes. He is the husband of Miss Kenobia Russell Blackman, who works here at the Archdiocese.
Wow.
So a lot of ties. Yeah.
Yes, and just his presence as Supreme Knight of such a large organization, he brought about so much more I'll say, to me, Catholicism and more spirituality. It was already there, but he highlighted it, and then having the opportunity to be a part of the National Alliance of Catholic Knights, being amongst those, and just really what we're truly about, the virtues of being Catholic. And so to me, he was the one that brought all of that about, and so it's been wonderful. And but it's a great organization, and like I said, it's not just African American; it's any race who wants to be a part, and just to be able to participate in activities that are Catholic centered. And when you go to conferences, which every year each district has a conference. And then we have the National Convention, and I think this year it's going to be in Oklahoma. But to be a part of celebrating Mass amongst, other Catholics that are just like you, it's amazing. It is, and it's so rewarding. And that's why I enjoy being in it, because of the fellowship and just being able to serve the Lord and to do and have an imprint on not just locally, but worldwide. I think we donated $100,000 to our Mother of Africa Basilica in D.C. one year. So it's just all sorts of wonderful things that make us pretty unique. So,
just to kind of piggyback on what she said, past Supreme Knight Blackman, he really fostered a lot of pro-life issues and really brought us up to date in those issues and got our views out there. And like I said, got us online with the other organizations. And because, we were our little engine and we were steaming along, but he brought us online with a lot of the other organizations. And now we actually have a voice and a lot to say. And one thing I really like about our organization is our junior daughters and junior knights. When we're fostering the next generation, we're bringing kids up. And they're seeing how we work in the church and let them follow in our footsteps. So I think that more than anything, trying to teach them, they're right there with us and they see what we do. And they get in and they're in with all of our initiatives and everything we do. Yeah. And I like that mentoring thing that we do as well.
Wow. Can you expound upon that a little bit? I've never heard of this mentorship of our juniors and stuff. I think it's unique probably to the Knights of Peter Claver. So
me as well. I thought that was one of the things that really struck home with me because my vocation, I played sports throughout high school and college, and I always wanted to, be a mentor for kids coming up. So when I got with this organization, and we have the different branches to juniors, like I say, we go out with them. It's I guess you can compare it to like the big brothers, big sisters. We try to foster them, and we take them out, and we have a good time with them. But we also go over things like, this is what you need to worry about your studies, and we let them, see what we do, and this is what you can be down the road. And we just try to foster, some support in their lives. So some don't have mothers and fathers. So, we just like to lead in that respect.
Right. So these young men who are participating, they don't have to be Catholic. They can.
No, unfortunately, they do. Have to
so
be, yeah.
Okay.
Well, we actually have like the junior daughters and junior knights.
Okay.
One of the requirements is they have to have had their first communion. So from the age of 8 through 18, it's our junior division. And we have the junior knights and junior daughters. They actually have their own conference as well and their own convention. Wow. And so they do marvelous, outstanding work. Just seeing these young people in action, it's amazing. It really is. And they truly love the Lord, and they truly love being Catholic, and they want to be there. You know, it's not that, oh, here we go, we got to go to Mass again. No, these young men and young women are really wholly, fully vested in the values of being a Catholic. And seeing them in action is amazing. You see them working at soup kitchens. You see them giving to the homeless, collecting items for who needs it. So, and it's national. It is. It's national. Yes. So there are junior councils and courts all throughout the United States.
That's impressive.
And I feel like Louisiana and Texas have the bigger ones, you know, because of that. But the Gulf Coast is not too shabby. You know, we do quite a bit too. So we do have, and I'll just show you this. This is our Claver Rite, which we have it. It's twice a year that it's printed. Way back when the Claver Knights of Peter Claver started, it was. One of the priests was the editor of it, and so later it became the Claver Rite. And so it keeps you abreast of what people are doing in the organization throughout the United States, and it's a lot. It is a lot. So it's amazing and refreshing to see young people wanting to be a part of the Catholic Church and actually showing it by their actions. So
it is something I would say it's unique, especially in the experience of maybe, you know, the Knights of Columbus or the Knights and Dames of the Holy Sepulchre. It looks like a grown-up organization that, you know, it's like, you know, okay, I'll go to youth group, but that's like for when I get married and have kids or something like that. It's the idea of, and oftentimes we hear from these organizations is, how do we get young people to be part of our organization?
Yes.
So, and y'all are like, well, you create their own separate chapter, and you have like a program that's very intentional. That's pretty brilliant. Yeah. Did y'all get involved when you were young adults, or?
I did not, because at the time we did not have anything here. So
Gotcha.
I didn't as well, because as I said, there weren't any chapters at the church I grew up in Kentucky. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You mentioned, you're going back a little bit, the fact that you're a lay organization, still though connected to parishes. What is the relationship between y'all and your parish priest? And, you know, is there like a kind of like, hey, Father, tell us what you need or something like that? You know, we'll provide the food or something, or is it more of anything you need kind of we're at it?
Well, I'll start with what we do at St. Joseph's, because we go to different parishes. But just along our mission statement, it says one of our things is we want to support our local pastor, parish, and bishop.
Gotcha.
So it is pretty much like you said, catch-22. Whatever you need, we try to plug in and fill in the dike wherever you might need us. We like to become active in our respective communities, and we like to instill civic pride and action. That's what we try to do. And like I say, it's all about engaging in and demonstrating our Catholicism, like I say, throughout the community.
That's what makes it so unique, is the Catholicism aspect of it.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm not in a fraternity or sorority type environment, but a lot of people are. But the difference is, it's wholly Catholic. Yeah, it's wholly Catholic.
Absolutely.
So
Yes,
makes a difference.
Just large, you know, the question of fraternal organizations is always like, well, I live in Pensacola, but I really belong to the Lions Club or the Rotary or something like that. It creates like this home within a home. And I know we had an episode last year on just kind of the Black Catholic experience, and sometimes I think that the total numbers, I think 3% of the U.S. Church is Black Catholic. So you speak to the experience of just how it creates a home within the church in a particular way that maybe, I don't know, any old parish doesn't quite do for y'all.
Well, I'm a member of St. Jude, so we're sort of like a melting pot. We have, every nationality, I think, just about. So for me, if I want like a extra dose of just more Mass or whatever it might be, then I will attend St. Joseph or St. Anthony. So, whereas we have a beautiful parish, beautiful music, and the people are amazing, and this just adds another dimension to it for me.
Yeah, as I said, St. Joseph's, when I got here, reminded me of my parish. I grew up in Christ King Parish in Louisville, Kentucky. We were probably 80% Black, and we had, first through eighth grade there, so I attended first through fifth and then begged to go to public schools, just because I was playing sports and wanted to get out there with my friends. But like I said, it brings that community because I'm not with any fraternal or sorority organization as well. In college, I used to say basketball team was a frat, so, we spent all our time there. We didn't have any time to do anything outside. So this kind of gave me that experience, which I kind of missed when I was in college. And it kind of come around full circle. I'm with an organization now that I really feel wholly a part of, and I want to donate my time to. It's not something, as she said, you feel like, we have this going on. I look forward to getting involved with the activities that we do and the things we support in the church. Yeah.
Good. In your role as Grand Knight and Grand Lady, is it an appointed position, elected position? How long do you serve in this position? Can you kind of just educate us a little bit on that aspect of it?
Well, it's actually you're voted in that position. You can serve up to 6 years.
Okay.
Back in, 88 is when I first became Grand Lady, and I'm probably the longest serving Grand Lady because, I'll serve and then someone will serve for a couple of years and then I'll go back to, just keeping it going. But it's usually for us a 6 year.
Okay.
If you're going to be in. So you can remain in up to 6 years.
Right. Minimum term of 2 years.
But it's 2 years, and you're elected every 2 years.
Yeah, there's a nomination, and then if you're voted in due to nomination, a number of people that are nominated, then you can assume the term. You can either accept or decline, but it's not anything that's thrust upon you. You have to be. Okay. But it's kind of like with the men. It's kind of like a natural succession. When I first joined the organization, I was learning about the organization, and I just filled in where I could because I was busy still with work and different things going on. But then as I was able to donate more time, and I had been around a while, becoming one of the more senior members, then my nomination came around, and I gladly accepted. And so
fantastic.
It's going from there. Yeah.
Good.
Looking at how people can be involved, Mary, you mentioned an initiation, and we already talked about maybe like there's a Catholic element that has.
Yes.
So what is the process like? Is it a super secret club that they vet you over the course of months and stuff like that, or what are we looking at here?
Actually, no. There is an application process.
Okay.
Anybody who's, and I'm saying eligible Catholic, you have to have fulfilled your Easter duty, confession, of course, and be at least 8 to 18 for the junior, and then anyone older than that can be in the senior. You fill out the application. They do have applications online. Your parish priest must sign off on it.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one of the requirements because otherwise anybody would just, let's go here. But so your parish priest really sort of verifies that, yes, this is a person who is actively involved in our church and a member. So that's one of the bigger requirements. So Catholic,
Absolutely.
Parish priest signs off on it, of course, First Communion, and then, of course, confession.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to just say those same things you just said. Practicing Catholic, and you've made your First Communion, and then, like I say, when you go through the process, it's signed off by your priest at the church. And but like she said, along the lines of initiation, I was initiated in Pascagoula, Mississippi. As I said, we're part of a district here. And it was kind of a thing. They took us over. It was like 3 of us that got initiated at the same time. And they wouldn't tell us anything about the ceremony, what we could look forward to. Only thing we knew was we would have a meal afterwards. But so we were kind of on pins and needles the whole way over. But it was really a great memory I'll remember in my mind. So, yeah.
I'll just say this, you definitely need to know your Catholic religion.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes, they will ask you some questions.
And that's as far as I can go with that.
Yeah, and we'll leave that alone.
That's great. There's something beautiful about an entrance and initiation. I think everybody who first, when they go to a bigger liturgy, usually it's Knights of Columbus, they see them lined up, they got swords, and you're just like, what is going on? I thought I was going to Mass here, But there's an attraction, there's an element of belonging that comes along with it that is undeniable. Yeah,
it's beautiful. The fellowship and the family aspect of it as well. So,
yeah, Louis, you mentioned that one of the things that kind of attracted you was the regalia. The
yes.
can you describe what that is, and the significance behind it?
Well, when you're initially initiated, your standard level is third degree. Okay. And then your third degree regalia is going to be a sash and a fez, with the tassel on the side. And that is pretty much your regalia. Of course, you have lapel pins and things like that. But the fourth degree, which is after you serve for 2 years in good standing, if you want to become fourth degree and you get accepted and you ascend to that level, your regalia is quite different. You have, then you get the sword, the cape, you're wearing your white gloves. Like I say, you have a bigger sash, and then your chapeau is quite the one with the long train. Yeah, it's, and the different colors in the chapeau determine whether you're just a general member, which would be blue or green, is you're in position of leadership, and orange, which means you're a captain, which you're going to help when you form and everything get together. Yeah, so everyone identifies that when you're in that.
Nice.
But you naturally want to ascend to the highest level, which is fourth degree, so you can put on that full regalia, and it does. It makes you feel special when you're walking around.
Imagine.
We're talking of fancy hats here, right? Chapeau is a fancy hat. Okay.
Absolutely.
It's much better than a beret. I don't want to wear a beret.
Well, now
I
the
wanna wear a
ladies do
chapeau.
have the beret, the fourth degree ladies.
Okay.
But
No, for the men. For the men.
yeah.
As a man, I don't want to wear a beret. I want to wear a chapeau.
If I guess I can akin it to the old Buccaneer movies on the
nice.
tall ships. Yeah, it's a Buccaneer's hat with the long plume. Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, absolutely.
and that particular, the fourth degree, you actually do have to be invited in.
Okay.
And it's really based on your work to the church, the community at large, and to mankind. So it's you don't just get in, but you're invited in. Now, we just recently had the establishment of a chapter in Pensacola. That an establishment is different than just being invited in. So yours was establishment, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
So, what sort of activities do you have planned in the coming year that you're looking forward to participating in and being a part of, and that we, as members of the community, and maybe future members of the Knights, can look forward to participating in, being a part of, things like that? Anything?
Well,
come
I
to
know
mind?
we're about to have our Women's History Month program. It's the 18th or 19th. And so that's going to be the second Sunday in March.
Okay.
And so throughout that process, it's we're honoring women in history. So we do highlight women in history. And we also choose a lady from our organization as Claver Lady of the Year for our particular court. That person represents us at the district.
Okay.
So we're having that in March, and we do that every year. So
Fantastic.
Well, along with what she said, from our national office, we get guidelines monthly on things that we can possibly focus on monthly or suggested activities. So we follow that as much as we can. Of course, we're not going to do everything that is big down, but like say, for instance, in February, they say host or sponsor a Black History Facts Quiz Bowl, promote little-known Black History facts, just things like that we weave into our local organization along with what we're doing throughout the church. Because at St. Joseph's, we do a lot of active fundraising activities for the church. So we'll temper in our things along with what we're doing at the church. And like we do several things over there. We do bake sales, international food days. We do concessions at all the parades that they have, since where the parades form up is right outside of our church. So we take advantage of that. I mean, as I said, the Lenten Fish Fry during the Lenten season. We do raffles all the time, baskets of cheer and different things like that. We have a spring festival, on and on and on. We just do things that the community, and we advertise through the office here and locally, and we try to get as much participation as possible.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's great. This is what keeps, parish life is about community. It's about family. It's about feeling like you belong. And organizations like this are absolutely essential for that feeling of home to become part of a parish. Not just a place I go on Sunday, but a place where faces are recognizable and active and want to do stuff. So it's really cool to hear about.
Well, one of the things we're doing is that we do every year also is the Vacation Bible School.
Oh, no way.
The uniqueness of it is we do it in the evenings so that the parents can participate and adults participation in that too. So that's something we do every summer.
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
Terrific. Well, if somebody is interested in submitting an application, how do they go about doing so? Because I'm sure after this podcast, somebody or hopefully many people will be inspired and will want to come forward and do something like that. So can you just tell us how they would go about doing that if they wanted to?
Well, you go ahead.
Okay. Well, I always fall back on we kind of stole this to be one, ask one.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the easiest way to do. But also we have our website, www.kofpc.org, and we list everything on their membership. Like I say, you can download information about the order and the Ladies Auxiliary, and you can go from there and read about it. And then, like you say, we'll invite you to come to some meetings, and we'll give you some more information, and we can go from there.
Okay.
And our Bishop Walk, he's totally familiar with us, and he's a big supporter of us too. Yeah. Bishop Holley is one of the members too. He's actually coming off being our national chaplain.
Right.
So yes. So you could talk to any of them, and then of course you could also talk to Mrs. Russell Blackman too, and
absolutely,
she can reach us, and yeah.
Yeah, we say her name softly around here, guys, but Miss Russell Blackman Canobia, again, she was on this delegation to the Rome. She's like,
yes.
Oh yeah, we're going over. Little do we know, like the reason for it and stuff. So we got a little bit of it in here. We'll get communications at PT.
Yeah, that's why I didn't go in deep with it. That's it. Now she's got the goods on that.
Well, cool. But Louis, Mary, this has been really informative. I was coming in as pretty much a neophyte to what Knights of Peter Claver are. Sounds awesome. Sounds really cool. Thank you for your dedication.
You're welcome to join us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Well, we appreciate you sharing your faith and your time with us.
Thank you.
Especially you, Mary, running out of the classroom to come down here.
With the late bus.
That's right. All right. Well, guys, you know the drill. 2 weeks from now, we've got our next episode, and it'll be with Bishop Walk as he continues a deep dive into Lent and one of the most fundamental aspects of Lent, which is penance, experienced through the sacrament of reconciliation. So stay tuned for that one, and we'll see you then.
Thank you for tuning in today to the Gaudium et Spes podcast. If you would like to know more about our podcast, please visit our website, gaudiumετspes.net, or go to ptdiocese.org and click the button that says podcast. If you listen to the audio version from an app such as Apple Podcast, Spotify, or iHeartRadio, be sure to rate, review, and comment. If you watched us on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe or leave us a comment there as well. Thank you for joining us.